Hey guys, if you're wondering when you're going to feel ready, the answer is never. It's not about feeling ready, it's about deciding that you are ready. It's only a choice that you can make, it's not a feeling. And so often we look towards these external markers to indicate if we are ready for something, such as the amount of followers, how much education we've gotten, how much money we make, the experiences that we've had. And then we look to see for that to validate us on if we are actually ready for whatever that next level is. But those are just external markers. They don't really tell you if you're ready. Being ready is a decision. You have to decide that you are ready, and then you will be. And if you're just looking for somebody to tell you that you're ready, then let me tell you right now, you're ready. So like I said, readiness is not a feeling, it is a decision. There's no diploma of readiness or marker that'll tell you. And I think because in school, we have these levels, we get our diplomas, our certificates in college too, trade school, whatever. And then that tells us that we're ready for something else. We go through this training and then we're ready for something else. But that's not how real life works. And that's not the way that the world works anymore. At a certain point in time, I think that model worked a bit more because it was preparing us for the industrial life, the industrial complex, if you will. But now that we are forging our own paths, the answer isn't as simple as, oh, go get this diploma. Oh, go get this certificate. And now you're ready. Or work for this many years and then you get the promotion and now you're ready. And no, it doesn't work that way anymore. And that's honestly a great thing. It means that now it's so much obvious to a lot of us that we just get to decide when we are ready, because no one's going to hand you the diploma to say that you're worthy of starting that business, or you're worthy to be a content creator, or hand you that certificate to say that you're worthy of opening up a nail shop. I don't know, whatever it is, whatever this next level for you is, writing that book, starting that course, like no one is going to give you that certificate. You have to give it to yourself and decide for yourself that you are ready. And in that period of just always researching or looking things up, you're only delaying what is already yours. And this is something that I had to realize when I was leaving my engineering job to become a full-time content creator. I did not feel ready when I had to leave my corporate job, but my mental health would not allow me to stay any longer. And it was such this tough internal battle that I had when I was leaving my engineering job, but I knew that I wanted more and that I was as ready as I was ever going to be for that next level for me. And I just had to take that leap. And we have to trust that when we take that leap, that the universe or God will catch you. And so now I have a few signs to know that you're ready for the next level. So when you're experiencing a lot of these, this is what's going to come up when you're in your experience. This is how you're going to be feeling when it's really time for you to go ahead, babe, take that leap. All right. So signs are already ready. 1, you're bored. You're bored with your experience. You're bored with your projects. You're bored. You're just bored with a lot of things in your life. You're just waking up like, another day, same old, whatever. Like it's just very monotonous and you're bored. There's no excitement. Or very little excitement. Number 2, you feel like you're in a never-ending loop. So this one's kind of similar to number 1. Number 1, you might just be bored. Like, I'm just kind of bored. Like, I need some spice it up. So you might do something reckless instead of productive for number 1. And then kind of the same for number 2. This is never-ending loop. You feel like you just wake up every day and it looks the same. You're like, oh my God, this again? Oh my God, this again? Every morning you're just like, doo, doo, doo. It's like one of those cartoons or in the movies when you see the day go by and it's the same day every day. You're in that loop and you recognize that you're in that loop and you want to get out of it. You're ready. Number 3, you're daydreaming a lot. So you're always thinking about some distant date in the future when you have the career, when you have the money, when you have the man, when you have the audience, whatever it is, you're always daydreaming and thinking about something or some time in the future and not really very present in the current. And I'm all about daydreaming. I love to do a little visualization, but at a certain point you have to realize, are you getting too comfortable and having too much fun in the daydreaming instead of going ahead and taking that leap, that thing that makes you feel uncomfortable? And I actually have a video talking about kind of like deciding on your desires, and I will leave that here. 4, you're constantly talking about the future. Similar to number 3 with daydreaming, but this one, whenever you're talking to people or just what you're experiencing, you're always referencing to the future. You're not really talking about what's currently happening. It's always like, oh yeah, next month, da 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 da, in a few years, da 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 da. Like, I can't wait till this. Like, you're always putting things off until tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow. You keep on saying it's gonna be tomorrow. Y'all remember that meme? That's that. 5, you're making new connections, or you want to make new connections that align with that next level. So maybe you have met a couple of people that are where you want to be, are doing the things that you say you want to do, or you've just seen them online more recently and you're just like, man, I wish I could like meet them or go to coffee with them, or they were my friend. That's a sign that your body is like, girl, we gotta go. We need to level up. Like, these are people that could help us. And the thing about being around people that are on that next level, that have the things that you want, and what I love about it is just being around them, you're going to level up, because your energy, it's going to show you where your energy is not up to par. It's going to show you your limiting beliefs. It's going to show you your fears, because things that scare you, to them, they're like, oh yeah, I did that this morning. Or like, oh yeah, I remember when I did that a few years ago. Or like, I do that every day. Like, they just get it. It's nothing to them. And you have no choice but to rise to that level. Or, I mean, if you're on this page, you're not jealous. You're not the jealous type. You're not the hating type. So I'm not worried about that. But you have no choice but, when you're around better people, to be better. It's just what you do. Because ultimately, that's what you really want. You want to be better. Number 6, you keep asking others for validation. This one, so you're always talking to people about what you are planning to do. You know, you're always looking for somebody to tell you it's a good idea. You're like, yeah, I'm thinking about starting a business and posting content online. You be talking to people, you be like, waiting for them to say, yes, do it. That's a great idea. Yes, please. I'm just, I was thinking about maybe starting a DJ on the weekends. I'm just looking around and they're like, yeah. And you're just waiting for other people to tell you what you already know in your heart you should do, but you just have fear around. And when also you are always telling people about what you want to do, somebody had told me this before, but when you do that, part of your brain feels like almost like you already did it. And so it's like, all right, we did it. We told people, like, you know, it's in the work, we're daydreaming. But you don't actually go through and do it, because you've already released all this dopamine. You've already told people about it. You're already visualizing and daydreaming about it every day, but you're not taking that next step. And then also what this can look like is just, you always need somebody to look over your work. Do you always send over like, girl, I need you to look at this thumbnail. Can you look at this thumbnail? What do you think? Can you look at this photo? What do you think? Can you read this? What do you think? And that's not to say that like you should never have anything peer reviewed, but is it excessive? Is it everything? Do you overthink everything? Do you always need somebody else to validate something for you to approve it or not? You have to think for yourself, especially if you want to create your own life. If you are not the main person driving the desires and the experiences and the choices that you make and what you put out into the world, then your life is not yours. It's dictated by others. And especially if you are wanting to get into content creation, you definitely do not want to be relying on validation from people online. You have to have that sense of self. So if you keep seeking for validation for all these things in your life, these big scary things or the little things, it's probably because you're not giving yourself that validation so that you can move forward and do the things that you know you need to do. Number 7, you're over researching or over planning. And this is the one that gets me used to get me, because I'm a nerd. Like, I'm a nerd. I'm a geek. I love to learn. I love to plan. Like, that's just my jam. And so that's fun to me. But what gets scary and dangerous here is that you're so busy planning, it feels like you're doing a little bit more than daydreaming, right? Because I was thinking about this. I was like, oh man, like daydreaming, visualization, that's kind of like the feminine approach to this, almost, I'll call it procrastination. And then the more masculine approach to this is this over planning and this doing tons and tons of research and thinking of a million ways that this could go wrong and having a literal contingency plan for all these this. Don't solve problems that you don't have right now. That is one of the biggest business tips I ever got. Stop solving problems you don't have. And that actually applies to every area in your life. So when you start over researching and over planning and you're trying to nail things down to the day, that can be a lot, especially for my women. We don't work like that. We don't work in like every day is the same. We got the same old, it's cyclical for us. And it needs to be more intuitive. And also there needs to be room for space to contract and expand different areas and different parts of whatever project we're working on. So when you get too rigid in the planning and I've been planning for about a month and a half. Girl, when you gonna go? Or, I've been researching. And if you keep researching, you're only gonna dig up more things that could go wrong. And then you think you need more other things in place in order to deal with these things that could go wrong. And it's more work than it needs to be. So if you've been over researching and over planning, you're ready, babe. You're ready. Just go, just start. And number 8, you just flat out don't like where you are in life. You know, this is not where you want to be. This is not what you want to do. This is not who you want to be. Like, this is just not it. It's not hitting. And you know you're ready for something else. And like, you wake up annoyed, or you go to sleep annoyed, or you're just annoyed throughout the day because you just really don't like your life, or you just really don't like certain parts of your life, and it bothers you. And because you feel bothered, that means that you're ready to take a step. You're ready to move. You're ready to do something about it. And so if any of these resonate, your soul is ready, babe. You just have to move. That's all you got to do. Just take the next step. So I'll tell you guys about a time when I had to take a leap before I was ready. Like I was saying earlier, when I left my engineering job, I was so nervous. I had a pretty good amount of money saved up, but I really wanted to make it through the end of the year, but I could not. It was September when I put in my 1 month notice. Because I wasn't brave enough to do 2 weeks, and I felt so bad for leaving them that I stayed a whole month. Would never recommend that because it just built a lot of animosity. But I had to go, and I had to go because of my mental health. It wasn't even just because of like, oh, I made a plan and I was going to do that. The plan was the end of the year, but my mental health could not take me past September, and I had to leave. And so one of the things was my car. I had a company car. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got to get a car. I only have $10,000 max that I could possibly spend. And like cars at that time, cars are way more now, but I was just looking at used, but I'm like, man, I can't even get that good of a used car for $10,000. Like I'm probably going to have a monthly payment. I really don't want to have a monthly payment while I'm figuring this out. And I was like, man, this is just a lot. But I just trusted God. I left it to him, and I was like, okay, whatever, it'll be figured out. And then literally 2 days before my last day, they were like, oh, did you want to just buy your company car? You can buy it. I was like, what? Yes, absolutely. Why am I the last to know? But then they offered it to me for like less than $2,000 less. So maybe like $8,000. And I was so happy. And that was the first time that I took that leap after leaving my job, and God caught me. And it showed me that when you take those leaps, when you take those risks, you will be caught. Like you have to believe that you will be caught, and you have to believe that there is more for you, and that you have these desires and you want more because there is more for you. And so I was able to keep my car. Her name is Estelle. And so she's my baby. She's been with me. And I said, wow, thank you, God. I had a paid off car leaving my job. And my car at that time had only had maybe 40,000 miles, So very low mileage. I knew where it had been kept. The maintenance had been kept up. It was a company car, baby. Okay. But it worked out perfectly. And I was so glad that I trusted in myself, and I just took that step. So my question to you is, what would you do right now if you knew that you were fully supported? If you knew that the universe was going to catch you, what would you do? Ask yourself this, like really sit down and journal and think about this. What would you do? And the only way to see that path forward, though, is you have to decide. And I talk about this in my Desire to Decide video, but you have to be okay with getting uncomfortable. And the more you take risks, the easier it's going to be to take more of them and to take bigger risks. And the next thing you know, you're at the Grammys or whatever. You're wherever you thought that you would never be. And when I took the leap on becoming a content creator all those years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, but when I took that leap, I was so nervous and I just didn't know where it was going to take me, but I just bet on myself. And you just have to trust that the universe will show up for you when you bet on yourself. Like before I became a content creator, I really did not even think that this was something that I could be doing. Like I could do or be. This was also before it was like super mainstream to be a content creator. Now it's like, oh yeah, we definitely could see how you could make a living. Anybody could make a living from content creation. But at that time, this was still very new. And a lot of people were like, what? You have an engineering degree? You have 2 engineering degrees, babe. what are you doing? What are you talking about? Content creator. What do you mean posting your outfits every day? Like what I don't huh? And but I had to trust what I knew in my heart. I had to trust what desires I had, and all the signs that I talked about, those were things that I was feeling. Those were things that I was doing. I was talking to people like, well, I've been doing content creation for fun on the side. Hearing what people are gonna say, like, thinking about doing it full time. Felt like I was in a never ending loop. Waking up, I hated waking up. I hated waking up every day. And it was just really tough. And I know I'm talking about this specifically when it comes to like your career and your job and stuff. It doesn't have to be that for you, but that's just what it's really been for me. I'm just a I'm just a career driven girly. And not in the traditional sense, but just I know that a lot of my fulfillment and my purpose in this lifetime comes from my work. And that's just who I am. And if you're watching this, you're probably the same. So yeah, that's why I use a lot of those examples. But really, that is it. That's all I really want to talk about today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Just remember that if it's a hell yes, you have nothing to lose and everything to gain. So take that leap. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.